Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out this morning. When I kicked off my campaign for mayor, I announced that I would bring business leaders, realtors, and developers together to find solutions to overcoming barriers in growth. As noted in a Wyoming Tribune editorial, Cheyenne is facing a nightmare situation. The possible collapse of a deal to finally, after 30 years, bring the Hynds Building back to life, as well as the inability of the proposed Children's Museum to fill that hole. We seem to have hit a stalemate with few options until now. I'm very excited today to announce a solution to that stalemate. As many may recall, my late friend, Paul Smith, former owner of the Hitching Post, had a very generous heart. He cared about the community, he cared about children, and he cared about culture. His estate was inherited by his niece, Stephanie Smith White, who joins me here this morning, along with her husband Tom and her son Paul, and her realtor Chuck West. Like her uncle Paul, she too has a very generous heart. It must be in the genes. Stephanie and I have been talking about her desire to ensure the more than 20 acres of land that she inherited in this West Edge is developed thoughtfully. She has already committed to donating 3 acres of the land to the city for recreational purposes. And yesterday, Stephanie called me with news that I believe supporters of the Hynds Project and supporters of the proposed Children's Museum will find equally exciting. She is willing to donate 2 acres to the proposed Children's Museum to be located in this west edge of Cheyenne. With tons of parking, hotels, and recreational opportunities nearby, I believe this west edge location is child-friendlier, and it will free up the land to meet the demands of the prospective tenants in the Hynds Building. I've been looking for a solution to keep the Hynds Building development going. It's been vacant for 30 years. And finally, we have a developer who has located a tenant who will fill this historic building and return it to a vibrant and important part of downtown Cheyenne. But the tenant needs parking, and that's part of the deal. The location next to the Hynds Building, known as the Hole, seems to be the best option. It's been an eyesore for over 10 years from that fire. I understand the Children's Museum Board had their sights set on filling the hole, but I believe this offer provides a better foundation for them. They've been unable to raise $18 of the $21 million needed for the museum, and that future doesn't look bright. I'm asking them to step back and look at the bigger picture. By accepting the donated land, agreeing to locate the museum to our west edge, they can have a fresh start, and the Hynds Building project can move forward. The proposed Children's Museum has gained the attention of our community, and while I remain opposed to funding it through taxpayer dollars, I believe this solution will breathe life back into their private fundraising efforts. This really is a win-win for everyone. No doubt, Paul Smith is smiling down and is very proud that these puzzle pieces can be put together. The Hynds Project, with parking and downtown living, revitalizing our main street, and the proposed Children's Museum can locate in the growing West Edge. Stephanie, together with Chuck, will be presenting the formal offer to the Children's Museum Board. We hope that they will accept this gracious offer, in addition to the offer presented to them by the developer of the Hynds Building. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I suppose we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. Excuse me. Forgive me for not, if I didn't hear closely enough. Where exactly is this 2 acres you're talking about?
Perhaps our developer friends can better explain exactly where that's at.
The Whites have, through their LLC, Dozer LLC, approximately 22 acres for sale, stretching from Grand Avenue to the north end. And basically, where they choose this site is really up to them. I think the thing that would work best for the city and the museum would be something close to the rec center, adjacency. From the Dozer LLC standpoint, the most valuable part of their property is the one close to Lincoln, which is likely to be developed sometime by a hotel motel group, because they all like to be next to each other, as we've all seen on Lincoln Highway. But the decision is somewhat flexible, right?
Correct.
So no specific piece has been picked at this point.
So up to 2 acres that they're choosing, effectively. Okay.
Could you kind of outline the larger choice? I mean, how much property, where is this exactly? I'm still a little vague.
Where's the 2 acres?
Where's the 22 acres at exactly?
Okay, it starts on, there's a little stub on Grand between the 2 hotels, my place, and you can go out here in front of the hitching post. My sign's out on the Grand Avenue stub, and if you look across, you can see part of the land all the way up to the railroad tracks. It's hard to define, a piece of land, but it's basically 22 acres right back of us.
What's the name? If I look it up on the assessor's website, what's the name on the parcel?
Dozer, D-O-Z-Z-E-R LLC, and Stephanie is a managing member of that LLC.
And I believe we can send that as well in a file to
Yes.
you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes, great. Has the Children's Museum already been notified of this then? The Children's Museum Board?
This is the first.
Okay. So the ball would be in their park, as it were, if they want to decide whether or not to do this. Are you aware of any meeting that's been set up, or is this the kind of initial olive branch of sorts to the museum?
It is, and you can speak to that maybe as far as our meeting, kind of the timing of this. So.
Sure. So I inherited the hitching post when my uncle, Paul Smith, passed away in 2006. And basically my heart's been heavy ever since. I did my best due diligence that I could, but as we all know, it was burnt down. And that's always, I've had a heavy heart with that. And earlier this year, Rick Parrish approached me about donating 3 acres for a sports complex or rec center, which will be just right out here. And I thought that was a great idea, and I thought that'd be a great way to put some new energy into this land and kind of help for the eyesore of the hitching post. Yesterday I was reading the newspaper and reading about the Hynds Building and the parking, and thought another 2 acres donation might be nice and might solve both issues. Marian and I already had a meeting planned for this upcoming Friday. I've been trying to talk to different people, from Richard Johnson to Marian, just different people, so that this last acreage that I have is developed correctly, and to people that, moving forward, I don't want the same thing happening to what happened at the hitching post. I want to improve on that. So then I called her yesterday with this idea, and then this all just came together very quickly, and then we set this up. So.
Anything else?
I guess, can you speak a little bit to the suitability of the land in question for the museum's purposes? I know, from what I've understood, part of the reason they've stuck with the holes as long as they have is that a lot of the design work that's gone into that has been kind of specific to that location and some of the challenges that it presents. Can you speak to your thoughts on the suitability of the land in question and its potential for development?
Well, I think that they could keep, the design that they have, because I think it's kind of going up. They would be able to do that, or they could reassess if they wanted to, because they'll have 2 acres to work with now. I'm assuming part of it would have to be for parking. Do you have anything more to say on that, Chuck?
Yeah, the design, of course, is always unique to the structure you're trying to build in the whole, in this case. But I would think a lot of it could be adapted, and you don't have the extra potential costs associated with tying into utilities, the limited alley space, other issues, the busy Lincoln Way. Here you have the ability to have open parking, and that's not only cheaper but more accessible to the public and safer for the kids.
All right. Thank you very much.
Does this have a deadline of any sort on when you would hope the Children's Museum would respond?
It's our understanding that what's precipitating this to be going forward so fast is Mr. Hatch's need to get something concrete, very firm, very fast. And so while there's no deadline on this, there will be provisions that the museum will actually use the space. They won't be able to sell it and use it towards something else. But we believe that with timing of the essence for the Hynds project, that hopefully the sooner the better as far as getting this done.
And has Mr. Hatch been appraised of all this as well? Has he said anything? No. Fair enough.
Very good.
So
Yes.
I'm assuming this is contingent then on the Children's Museum selling the property in whole, correct?
The Children's Museum has been offered to by Mr. Hatch to the purchase of the whole, as well as he's also generously offered a $100,000 donation towards them, which would certainly go towards, I would think, changing any plans or design plans. So I believe this truly is a win-win for the community.
And if they choose not to develop the Children's Museum here, which is absolutely fine too, then those 2 acres will be donated to the city for community use.
All right. Thank you for your time.